many tribulation. It's true, cause times will change. They don't remain the same. Point blank rain, I've seen strain. It come down frame. Who's to blame? When you got nothing to lose, then you got something to prove. I can't speak so fully for you, but I got suspicion. Call my name, here come plain Jane. She's insane, takes more pain than you've seen. Stressful strain, take them rain, mill that cane, yeah. Ancient way, thoughts remain. She'll complain, yeah. Understand. When you got nothing to lose, then you got something to prove. I can't speak soulfully for you, but I got suspicion. When you got nothing to lose, then you got something to prove. I can't speak soulfully for you, but I got suspicion. Last night I lost my patience with you. Too many tribulation. It's true, cause times will change. They don't remain the same. Point blank rain, I've seen strain. It come down frame. Who's to blame? Ain't got the time with suspicions on my mind. I ain't got the time with suspicions on my mind. I ain't got the time with suspicions on my mind. I ain't got the time with suspicions on my mind. Do you remember a trip when you took a small slip, fell down on your head, turned the earth to blood red? Couldn't call for a ride, staggering the horrors on your What's the world got in store? Could you talk some more? I don't care what you say, so tell me it's okay. I don't want to know, just don't think about it. Could you reach way down inside of my throat and help me pull out all that's left? And if you get bored, well, okay, you'll never get a second chance. Climbing up the gym rope with my pants falling down, tricks with mirrors and smoke, electronic light show. Let the tea sit around, the basement's not flooding down to my knees, flooding down to my knees. The movement of all the trees, don't let it go away. The milk goes bad today, the expiration date is always in the last place. Pictures fill my world, if anything could swirl the palette that would emphasize your rainbow.
I am the devil. I am the Lord Satan from the netherworld, ruler of the damned and eternal king of hell. Even I, the master of deceit, can only stomach so much bullshit from the mainstream media and indie grifters. That's why I tune in to Morning Extra with Uncle Warren, because he eliminates my competition, and also because I know I'm gonna see that motherfucker soon.
Deo, Deo.
Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that naked won't go down. Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that shit won't go down. Corrosion to her thighs, erosion of her pride. Baby's got a shooter, baby's got corrosion now, corrosion now. Baby's got it.
Greetings and salutations from the far side of the moon. Why is that so low? Wait a minute. Check, check. 1, 2. You guys hear me out there okay? This has been a weird tech morning. I'm not even going to lie. I'm this motherfucker. I'm glad that works. Seriously, I turned all this shit on, did the same thing I do every single fucking day. And the little crawl thing didn't work. We didn't have the chat, none of that. And I was like, somebody's got a case of the Mondays. That's Quagmire. Good morning, everybody. A special show today for you this evening. Mass microphone, por favor. Okay, Chuck. Chuck, you're in space, so you're going to have to get closer, okay? This only projects on Earth, all right? Thank you, John, for, not trying to try my patience any more than it already is. No, seriously, it was like 5 minutes till I'm like, why isn't this shit working? So I had to restart the whole computer, and fortunately it worked. Otherwise I'll have to delay this because I really want to get this special show out today. It is Veterans Day, and it's one of those things. It's like, all right, so you have one day set aside for veterans. Are you serious? But today we're gonna Chuck, you're not Spanish. You can speak English. It's fine. Just stop pretending. So the first part of the show, we're going to have like a smaller news block. We're going to get through that. And then the rest of the show, I went through, I don't have anybody on today for the show. But we have plenty of information to go through for veterans that are looking for some sort of help, no matter what they need. So, but like I said, we'll have that after the news block coming up shortly. First, let's check in with the chat. Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show. Oh, sorry, I hit the Spanglish button on my ship controls by accident. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was. What's up, Kate? Good morning. Double dipping on YouTube and Rockfin. Good to see you. John Kemper in the house. Appreciate you with the thumbs up, my friend. Finger Man. My time zone shifter keeps blinking 12 o'clock every time I plug it in. Well, I don't know. That might be your VCR. Oh, you're at work? Kind of? Okay, John. Max RJ in the house, too. What's up, brother, man? Max, you sent me some stuff in email. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but I appreciate it. So, thank you for that. Doesn't exist in the house, too. Around the world with D and friends and Shake and Bacon right off the top. Imagine if our celebrities put their energy into helping veterans or ending homelessness instead of helping politicians. Thank you, Warren, for doing this. You're a good man. Well, we'll see. We'll see how good I am. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the news so we can go ahead and get to the veteran stuff because that's the stuff I really want to get to today. So, but first, as always, please, we're helping our buddy Chanda Masta out over there, Beauty and the Boomer. She is going through cancer treatments right now, and she could really use your help. So she has a GoFundMe link in the description below. Well, I actually put that there, but it was for her. So if you can donate to her treatments, they are expensive, folks. You know that. We all know how expensive healthcare is. If you can donate, that's great. If not, if you could share out her link for others, that would be great too. So yeah, let's I'm gonna do one more thing here. I forgot to do one little itty bitty teeny tiny bitty boo. Oh wait, that doesn't have it. Never mind. Okay, as long as you guys can hear me fine, I don't give a fuck. So it's been one of those mornings. Stop peeking. You're supposed to stay down there. Okay. All right, so let's get to it. So first off, of course, thank you. Man, nothing is working this morning. Monday. Holy shit. Israeli forces kill at least 51 Palestinians in Gaza over 24 hours. This is from Dave DeCamp over at antiwar.com. If you're looking for independent sources to share with your friends outside of our little area here, who are the normies, as we like to call them, make sure to point them at least to antiwar.com. A lot of great independent work going on over there. Gaza's health ministry said yesterday that Israeli forces killed at least 51 Palestinians and wounded 164 in the previous 24-hour period, as relentless Israeli strikes continued across the Gaza Strip. Dozens of Palestinians were killed by an Israeli strike on a house sheltering displaced Palestinians in Jabalia, which has been under a total siege since early October as part of an ethnic cleansing campaign being conducted by the Israeli military. According to Al Jazeera, at least 33 Palestinians, including 13 children, were reported killed in the strike on Jabalia. A day earlier, Reuters reported that a strike hit Al-Mawasi, a coastal area that the Israeli military has designated as a so-called safe zone, but it has come under repeated attack. Doesn't sound very safe. The strike, which hit Al-Mawasi on Friday, killed children as they were preparing to play soccer. Yes. No, they must be, so they must be Hamas, right? They must be Hamas if they're playing soccer. The rocket struck them. There were no wanted or targeted people there, and there was nobody else in the street, just the children who were killed yesterday. Mohammed Zanoun, a relative of the dead children, told Reuters. The UN's Human Rights Office said Friday that nearly 70% of the Palestinian fatalities it is confirmed were women and children. The youngest victim, whose death was verified, was 1 day old, and the oldest was a 97-year-old woman. Out of children under 18, those aged 5 to 9 represent the single biggest age category. So far, the UN's Human Rights Office has verified 8,119 victims, which is far lower than the number released by Gaza's health ministry. The numbers are, of course, massive compared to previous years, so we do need time to catch up and verify, said Ajit Sunge, head of the Human Rights Office for the occupied Palestinian territory. Sunge added that he expects the verified death toll to match the Palestinian numbers once the UN is caught up. Gaza's health ministry said Sunday that the latest violence brought its death toll since October 7th of last year to 43,603, and the number of wounded to over almost 103,000. The ministry only counts bodies brought to hospitals and morgues. There's still a number of victims under the rubble and on the streets, and ambulances and civil defense crews cannot reach them, the ministry said. A group of American healthcare workers who volunteered in Gaza have estimated the U.S.-backed Israeli bombing campaign and siege has killed at least 118,908 Palestinians, including over 60,000 who have starved to death. So, yes, come meet the new boss, same as the old boss. So, even though the old boss is the new boss, kind of, and he hasn't taken office yet then, but similar shit was going on, pardon me here. Once again, another thing not working. Can we do this again? There you go. Holy fucking shitballs. Yeah, so, of course, more death, and it's probably not going to stop anytime soon. But, we had just had an election, so, Meanwhile, Hezbollah fighters, nonstop rockets hammer Israeli soldiers and assets. The Islamic resistance in Lebanon, Hezbollah, continues carrying out ceaseless operations against the Israeli occupation, commencing its first of the day at exactly midnight on Sunday by bombarding an Israeli soldier gathering near Hassan's Gate in the southern Lebanese village of Sheba using a rocket salvo. Israeli enemy soldiers deployed in the Hagashrim settlement in North Al-Jalil, as well as in the eastern area between the Lebanese villages of Markaba and Hula, were both targeted with a rocket salvo each. Hezbollah's resistance fighters monitored and directly confronted an Israeli infantry force trying to infiltrate the southwestern outskirts of Atarun in South Lebanon, inflicting severe losses among its members who fell casualty between killed and wounded. Okay. Alongside Evan Menachem, Hezbollah coordinated 3 other simultaneous attacks, making it 4 at 11:40, targeting each of the Shtula, Zaret, and Shomera settlements with a rocket barrage each. A squadron of one-way attack drones was deployed and accurately hit its target, an Israeli soldier gathering in the Avivim settlement in northern occupied Palestine as well. The Shagra military base, located north of the occupied city of Akka, was barraged with Hezbollah rockets as its 6th operation takes course at 11:08 a.m. In the span of 20 minutes between 1:30 and 1:50 p.m., Hezbollah targeted a gathering of Israeli soldiers in the Al-Kaba hills on the southeastern outskirts of Markaba thrice, that's 3 times, using 3 separate rocket barrages. Hezbollah also announced 3 operations conducted on Saturday evening, 2 of which targeted an Israeli soldiers gathering at the Al-Abad military site. The Islamic resistance deployed a swarm of attack drones and a barrage of advanced rockets, hitting their targets accurately. The 3rd targeted group of Israeli soldiers stationed at Kirbet al-Manara, located between the Manara settlement and the Al-Abad border site, using a barrage of specialized rockets. At 4 p.m., the resistance launched simultaneous drone strikes on 2 key Israeli military locations. The Haifa Naval Base, which houses missile boats and submarines, was struck in Haifa Bay, while the Naora Base, 50 kilometers from the Lebanese border, was targeted due to its role as headquarters for the 36th Division and storage for emergency reserves. Both attacks hit their targets with precision. So that's your tit for tat killing on both sides update there. Although the Hezbollah is more of that's more of self-defense than I would say what Israel is doing, because Israel is not doing self-defense. They are doing genocide. We all know that. Hey, Shaken Bacon. Good to see you again, my friend. Check out Shaken on he's on Twitch too. He has a gaming channel on there. I think he's Drunken Unicorn on there. Is that right, Shaken? I can't remember if you're Shaken Bacon on there or Drunken Unicorn. Just let me know. But I think it's Drunken Unicorn. And he does some gaming every once in a while. Come hang out. He's a cool kid. He's a good Canadian, eh? He's one of our good Canadians that we have we keep lying around here. Meanwhile, Israeli ministers want issue of captives in Gaza to be solved naturally and tragically. That's according to a report. It just gets worse, folks. It just gets worse. The Israeli government is waiting and hoping for the captives held by Hamas in Gaza to die while expanding the military occupation of territory in Gaza as part of a broader effort to cleanse the strip of Palestinians and to build Jewish settlements. Yedioth Aharonoth reported on November 10th. Shaken Bacon Gaming playing through all the Resident Evil games right now. Okay, very good, very good. The Hebrew media paper reported that, quote, according to every intelligence report that is submitted to the cabinet ministers, the situation of the dozens of abductees who are still alive in the captivity of Hamas is getting worse from week to week. As long as the negotiations are not restarted, the problem of the abductees will be solved naturally and tragically, according to some right-wing ministers. The resistance of those ministers to release hundreds of terrorists will be redundant, the paper added. Since Hamas's Qassam brigades took around 250 Israeli soldiers and civilians captive on October 7th last year, it has sought to release them in exchange for a ceasefire. The release of thousands of Palestinians held captive in Israeli prisons, and an end to the Israeli siege on Gaza that began in 2007. However, fuckface Benjamin Netanyahu and his merry band of idiots, fellow ministers, Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich have successfully sabotaged ceasefire negotiations, preferring to extend the war, destroy Gaza, and annex its territory to ultimately build Jewish settlements. Israeli forces have killed many of the captives, both by bombing the locations in Gaza where Hamas was holding them and by opening fire and killing them directly. If ceasefire negotiations are not quickly resumed, the remaining 70 captives who remain alive will likely die, providing Netanyahu with a pretext to move forward with the permanent occupation of Gaza. Yeah, that's why they're not saving these hostages. Because they know, and the thing is, a lot of these hostages have been reporting that they were treated very well by Hamas. And that's like, ooh, you can't have that propaganda. They're supposed to have devil horns and supposed to be torturing you this whole time. The deaths and captivity of another 20 to 30 hostages will be swallowed up in the sea of mourning for the fallen soldiers. And then when public anger is channeled against Hamas, the Israeli leadership will not be in a hurry to withdraw from the Gaza territory that the IDF captured from the terrorist organization. Ministers and MKs on the right do not hide their ambitions to establish Jewish settlements there. Yedioth Aharonot wrote. The Hebrew paper adds that the slow death of the captives and Israel's increased control over Gaza territory are moving forward in tandem. These are actually two trends that are expanding quietly. One is the expansion of the occupied IDF territory and establishment of military bases within it. The second is the government's ignoring of the abductees' death throes. The two trends, unfortunately, will merge at some point in the future, end quote. This is all from their report. The expansion of territory occupied by the Israeli army is illustrated by the construction of a massive military base in the Netzarim corridor, the paper said. The corridor was initially constructed as a road to bisect Gaza from north to south. However, in recent months, the corridor has doubled its area to about 56 square kilometers, making it a large Israeli military enclave in the heart of the northern Gaza Strip. Today, the army is pressuring the approximately 300,000 Gazans remaining in the north of the Gaza Strip to cross to the south, the paper said. The most important part of this base is the innovative coastal barrier through which the army hopes a large mass of Palestinian population will soon pass to the south of the Strip with the expansion of pressure on the Jabalia area. The army established a large outpost on the beach to identify the tens of thousands it hopes will arrive soon and cross the south. This will happen, the army hopes, with the expansion of the ground raid in Jabalia to other areas and neighborhoods in Gaza itself. In the base, apart from the interrogation rooms and the temporary detention cells. The Israeli army has been abducting Palestinian men en masse at checkpoints as they move south. The men are then stripped to their underwear and taken on trucks to detention facilities where they are regularly tortured and raped. Yeah. In addition, the army plans to copy the Netzarim corridor model and implement it at the Philadelphia corridor on the Gaza-Egypt border as well, specifically in the area where the Gush Katif settlement block was located before the 2005 evacuation plan, the paper says. So they're not even hiding it. They're not even hiding it anymore. I mean, they haven't been hiding it, right? And now they're just like, now it's just bold. They're just saying, yeah, we're just waiting for him to die. And then we'll take the land. Because it's that land. The land's the most important thing there, folks. Come on. Where are your priorities? Meanwhile, you may have heard about the hooligans, the soccer hooligans from Israel causing a ruckus in Amsterdam. Those motherfuckers. Anyway, well now Amsterdam police have arrested pro-Palestine demonstrators for defying a protest ban. You figure in Amsterdam with all that weed, they would be very chill, but no dice. Uh, yes, the IDF guys are on the Diddy train, John. That's exactly right. They're there. Woo woo. They're running a train. If it's Diddy, they're running a train. Heyo, Dutch police have arrested more than 100 pro-Palestinian protesters in Amsterdam after they defied a demonstration ban put in place in the wake of clashes between Israeli football fans and people in the city. Early yesterday, the Amsterdam District Court upheld a decision by the mayor to ban protests in the Dutch capital 3 days after it was rocked by violence between Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans and residents in several areas. But hundreds of demonstrators defied the prohibition to gather in Amsterdam's Dam Square. Where is that damn square? I can't find that damn square anywhere. Yesterday, chanting demands for an end to Israel's war on Gaza and slogans such as Free Palestine. Police in riot gear moved in on the protesters in the afternoon, shortly after the court upheld the protest ban. Reporting from Amsterdam, Al Jazeera's Step Vason said that even tourists in Dam Square were shocked by an aggressive police response that included manhandling peaceful protesters. I saw tourists from India who were wearing the keffiyeh and were also being searched. They looked intimidated by the police and had no idea what was going on, she said. It's unique in Amsterdam to ban protests. This has not happened before, but over the last year, a lot of Palestinian solidarity protests were held in the city. Late yesterday afternoon, the municipality, together with Amsterdam Police and Public Prosecutor's Office, extended the initial 3-day ban on demonstrations until Thursday morning. A ban was imposed Friday after street fights involving Israeli football supporters before and after a match on Thursday between visiting Maccabi Tel Aviv and Ajax Amsterdam. Police said tensions had already built ahead of the match as Maccabi fans burned a Palestinian flag on the Dam Central Square and vandalized a taxi. Amsterdam Police Chief Peter Halle said, "Holla at your boy." The Europa League game finished largely in a peaceful atmosphere, praised by the Ajax club, but sporadic incidents beforehand were linked to both Maccabi supporters who were allegedly chanting anti-Palestinian slogans and opposing groups of youths. At least 5 people were injured early on Friday as Israeli fans were assaulted by men on scooters in what Amsterdam Mayor Femke Halsema described as anti-Semitic hit-and-run squads. More than 60 people were arrested. The mayor has rightly decided that there will be a ban on demonstrating in the city this weekend, the court announced on the tweeters. The Netherlands has seen a rise in anti-Semitic incidents since the Gaza war began in October last year. Well, kind of doesn't help when the so-called Semitics start the shit in the first place, right? They're the ones that started the shit. And then they're trying to claim, oh, we're the victims. Why do you do this to us? I'm like, well, because you're assholes. What is this? Wait a minute. What the hell? Sorry, folks. We'll get this situation under control here shortly. Just want to make sure. Okay. So, is this the next one? Seriously. I'm usually not myself when I don't have my Sanka. What's up, Bella? Good to see you. Court X. And Choosy's here. The jig is up. The word is out. I'm not reading the rest of that. All you're going to talk about is the Knights of Malta and then something about Portugal. And okay. Anyway. Is that the one I just... Okay, that's the one I just read. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch... Netanyahu said, "Fuck it, I'll admit it." He admits Israel was behind the Lebanon pager attacks. The biggest the biggest mystery of all time: who was behind the pager attacks? And so Fred from Scooby-Doo pulled off the mask, and sure enough, it was this asshole right here. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed during a cabinet meeting yesterday that the Israeli occupation was responsible for the September pager and wireless receiver terrorist attacks that wounded and killed hundreds of people, Israeli media reported. I'm pretty sure they didn't report it as a terrorist attack, though. According to these reports, if it was Israeli media, according to these reports, Netanyahu acknowledged that the operation, which targeted thousands of pagers across Lebanon, in parts of Syria was conducted despite opposition from top officials in the Israeli occupation forces and intelligence agencies, including recently sacked Security Minister Yoav Gallant. The pager operation and the elimination of Syed Hassan Nasrallah were carried out despite the opposition of senior officials in the defense establishment and those responsible for them in the political echelon, Bibi reportedly said. Netanyahu's remarks appeared to take aim at the IOF and intelligence leaders, signaling a rift between his administration and security officials over the attack. Uh-oh. Little bit of drama in the family. The Israeli occupation had not previously taken public responsibility for the attacks, despite accusations from numerous parties, including the Lebanese government. The New York Times reported in September, citing U.S. and other officials briefed on the attack, that Israel planted explosive material in a recent batch of Taiwanese brand pagers imported to Lebanon. So I know you've been wondering, who did it? Who did that pager attack? Come on. Okay. I'm being facetious, but, but sometimes I'm delicious when I'm facetious. Willie Bragg. What's up, Willie? Willie dropping a 10 spot on me. I appreciate you, brother, man. Let me give you a little like there, and I'll give you a little love here. Aw. Willie says, Happy Veterans Day. We must stand firm against the military-industrial complex, the deep state, support Palestine, and stop Israel and Ukraine funding. Well said, my friend. Well said. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Yes, and yeah, that's the only way it's going to stop, is you stop the funding. How you stop the funding, you got to get somebody in there who's in charge of the funding and get them to stop it. But how do you do that? Well, you got to elect them. Well, that doesn't seem to have worked recently, so we'll have to try other means. I don't know, maybe like a shut it down or maybe a general strike. What? What's this crazy guy talking about? Meanwhile, South Korea's military blames North Korea for GPS signal jamming attack. So, it's the technological age, folks. This is where warfare is going. It's going into small electronics and that sort of thing. Big bombs, well, not so much. North Korea staged a global positioning system jamming attack, Seoul's military has said, an ongoing disruption operation that has affected several ships and dozens of civilian aircraft in South Korea. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staffs on Saturday warned ships and aircraft operating in the West Sea area, also known as the Yellow Sea, to be cautious of North Korea's GPS signal jamming. I call it the Yellow Sea whenever I take a pee-pee in there because it's a yellow thing. North Korea conducted GPS jamming provocations in Haeju and Kaesong yesterday, and today, November 9th, the JCS said in a statement, adding that several vessels and dozens of civilian aircraft were experiencing, quote, some operational disruptions as a result. GPS relies on a network of satellites and receivers that allows for global positioning and navigation. The JCS also called on North Korea to immediately halt the interference and warned it would be held accountable for its actions. You better stop, or, I'm going to tell you to stop again. Between May 29th and June 2nd, an estimated 500 planes and hundreds of ships experienced GPS problems due to North Korean interference. South Korea's government said at the time Seoul complained to the United Nations aviation body, the International Civil Aviation Organization, which warned North Korea to stop the jamming. All right, we're jamming. Doot, doot. I want to jam it with you. Boop, boop. We're jamming. Sorry. I hear jamming. I figure like some Bob Marley might be appropriate. Maybe not. I probably wouldn't. I'll just retract that. Meanwhile, Russia and North Korea are doing a little defense deal. Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed off on a landmark defense pact with North Korea, a deal that comes amid reports that Pyongyang has dispatched thousands of troops to fight against Ukraine. Putin struck the deal during a visit to North Korea in June, but it had to pass through Russia's parliament and signed by the Kremlin leader to come into force. Wait a minute, I thought he was a dictator. I thought Putin was a dictator, right? Wait, what is this what's that word? Parliament. Isn't that a cigarette? He has to ask a cigarette for permission. Why, Russia, you crazy. The Kremlin published the signed law ratifying the treaty on its website Saturday evening. The agreement formalizes months of deepening security cooperation between the two nations, which were communist allies throughout the Cold War. North Korea has become one of the most vocal and important backers of Russia's full-scale offensive on Ukraine. The deal obligates both states to provide military assistance without delay in the case of an attack on the other. It also commits them to cooperate internationally to oppose Western sanctions and coordinate positions at the United Nations. Putin hailed it in June as a breakthrough document. Citing intelligence reports, South Korea, Ukraine, and the West say North Korea has deployed around 10,000 troops to Russia to fight against Ukraine. When asked publicly about the deployment last month, Putin did not deny it, instead deflecting the question to criticize the West's support of Ukraine. I know, right? Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. It's like, hey, you got North Koreans helping you. It's like, well, the Ukrainians have like everybody helping them. Assholes. Now this is this is a bit scary. I don't know about you. I don't know if there are any Star Wars fans, but holy shnikes, I think China's a Star Wars fan. China working on an energy weapon that converges multiple beams. Yeah, like that. Like the old, Death Star thing. Jim Beam. I don't know is that the guy's name who wrote this? That can't be. No. Jim Beam. What the hell? China's military is working on an experimental weapon system that converges multiple streams of microwaves into a powerful energy beam, the South China Morning Post reports. In other words, it's not entirely unlike the Death Star from the Star Wars franchise, albeit on a much smaller scale. According to the report, scientists claim they've completed experimental trials on its potential military use. However, whether their efforts will ever culminate in a weapon capable enough to destroy a planet like in Star Wars, let alone destroy much smaller targets, remains to be seen. For one, accumulating sufficient electromagnetic waves in the same location remains incredibly difficult. According to the SCMP, scientists calculated that they needed to achieve a positional accuracy of mere millimeters and time synchronization of 170 trillionths of a second more precise than an atomic clock. Nonetheless, scientists claim to have achieved this level of accuracy during recent experiments. While it won't be blowing up adversary targets, the researchers found that it could jam signals of U.S.-owned GPS satellites. Achieving multiple goals such as teaching and training, new technology verification, and military exercises. The scientists say that combining streams of microwaves could end up with a higher output than the sum of the individual beams. Unsurprisingly, the researchers remain vague about the future potential uses of the tech. Lasers! Maybe they'll mount them on sharks, right? Meanwhile, the United States has long dabbled in similar tech. DARPA. For instance, the Air Force has developed a high-power microwave-directed energy weapon system called the Tactical High-Power Operational Responder, or THOR, designed to counter drones. Whether any of these efforts will culminate in a practical weapon is still hazy, though. For now, military powers will have to contend themselves with directed energy weapons that can disrupt electronics and disable communication signals to gain an edge on the battlefield. And of course, they're using these in protests too, using energy weapons like microwaves and basically heat up protesters, right? They'll be standing there, all of a sudden they'll just get hot all of a sudden and they have to back off. One has to wonder about the origins of an article whose byline is Jim Beam. I know, right? Well, it's the beam part. Okay, I get that part. All right, because it's a beam. But what's with the Jim? I don't know, man. I just work here. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Come on. What else we got here? Man, I'm gonna tell you, if this show finishes without any more problems, God love you, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So you know about the flooding over in Spain, and the people are none too pleased about how they have come in and tried to assess the situation and fix things. Tens of thousands of Spaniards demand Valencia leaders' resignation for bungling flood response. Whoa, hello, my little friend that I didn't ask for. Tens of thousands of Spaniards marched in the, well, I guess we can look at that real quick. That's only 57 seconds. You've been nice people. Let's take a look. Let's see what this is. So this is them. Protesters clashed with police as thousands gathered to demand accountability for the response to deadly floods in eastern Spain. So this was on November 9th. So it's a couple days ago. It was Saturday. Man, that is no bueno. The October floods left more than 200 people dead and caused widespread damage across the region. Damn, that dude's gonna throw a tree. So there they are protesting. Protesters called for the resignation of Valencian President Carlos Mazon, who they blamed for the delayed and ineffective response to the disaster. Mazon dimisión. All right. You can stop now. You know, stop. Well, we're just gonna mute you then. So the protesters clashed with riot police in front of City Hall, where the protesters started their march to the seat of the regional government. Police used batons to beat them back, and protesters used chairs and trees. Apparently, it's about the whiskey. It is, Max. It is about the whiskey. Regional leader Carlos Mazon is under immense pressure after his administration failed to issue flood alerts to people's cell phones until hours after the flooding started on the night of October 29th. Many marchers held up homemade signs or chanted, Mazon resign. Others carried signs with messages like, you killed us. Upon arrival at the regional government seat, some protesters slung mud on the building and left handprints on the muck of its facade. Earlier on Saturday, Mazon told regional broadcaster Apunt that there will be time to hold officials accountable, but that now is time to keep cleaning our streets, helping people, and rebuilding. He said that he respected the march. Mazon of the Conservative Popular Party is also being criticized. Well, I guess they're not very popular right now. It's also being criticized for what people perceive as the slow and chaotic response to the natural disaster. Thousands of volunteers were the first boots on the ground in many of the hardest hit areas on Valencia's southern outskirts. It took days for officials to mobilize the thousands of police reinforcement and soldiers that's a regional government asked central authorities to send in. In Spain, regional governments are charged with handling civil protection and can ask the national government in Madrid, led by the socialists, for extra resources. Mazon has defended his handling of the crisis, saying that its magnitude was unforeseeable and that his administration didn't receive sufficient warnings from central authorities. Passing the buck, eh? But Spain's weather agency issued a red alert, the highest level of warning for bad weather, as early as 7:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning as the disaster loomed. Some communities were flooded by 6 p.m. It took until after 8 p.m. for Mazon's administration to send out alerts to people's cell phones. Let's use a little math here. So 7:30 a.m. Whoa, hello. Didn't need that. What kind of science was that? So 7:30 a.m. and then he didn't get the shit out till 8 p.m. Wow. Mazon was Spain's royals and socialist prime minister when they were pelted with mud by enraged residents during their first visit to a devastated area last weekend. Good. Sarah Sanchez Guerrillo attended the protest because she had lost her brother-in-law, 62-year-old Candido Molino Bulgarin. She said his body was found in a field of orange trees after he was trapped by the water in his home in the town of Chesti, west of Valencia. See? You gotta get out in the streets. You cannot accept bullshit. right? You cannot accept half measures and this dumb shit that these motherfuckers they're doing. We gotta do that in America. We gotta do that. Shut it down. Fucking vote your way out. God damn. Cuba just rocked by a hurricane, and of course now they get an earthquake. Because sure. 6.8 magnitude earthquake shakes Cuba after hurricanes and blackouts. They testing you. They testing you, that's for sure. An earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 6.8 shook eastern Cuba on Sunday after weeks of hurricanes and blackouts that have left many on the island reeling. The epicenter of the quake was located about 25 miles south of Bartolome Maso, Cuba, according to a report by the U.S. Geological Survey. Rumbling was felt across the eastern stretch of Cuba, including in bigger cities like Santiago de Cuba, as well as Holguin and Guantanamo. Local media in Jamaica also reported that the island felt the tremors. There were no immediate reports of major damage or injuries in Cuba. Residents in Santiago, Cuba's second largest city, were left shaken on Sunday. Yolando Tabio, 76, said that people in the city flocked to the streets and were still nervously sitting in their doorways. She said that she felt at least 2 aftershocks following the quake, but that among friends and family, she hadn't heard of any damages. You had to see how everything was moving, the walls, everything, she told the Associated Press. Others reported hearing screams, adding that the quake was strong and stretched on. On social media, residents in the small town of Pilon reported minor damage, posting photos of crumbling roofs and cracks on building walls, not uncommon in Cuba, where many structures are older and in need of repair. The earthquake comes during another tough stretch for Cuba. Wednesday, Category 3 Hurricane Rafael ripped through western Cuba with strong winds, knocking out power island-wide, destroying hundreds of homes and forcing evacuations of hundreds of thousands of people. Days after, much of the island was still struggling without power. Weeks before, in October, the island was also hit by a 1-2 punch. First, it was hit by island-wide blackouts stretching on for days, a product of the island's energy crisis. Shortly after, it was slapped by a powerful hurricane that struck the eastern part of the island and killed at least 6 people. The blackouts and wider discontent among many struggling to get by has stoked small protests across the island. Well, maybe if you don't have the fucking blockade down there, maybe they could get some more stuff down there. But, they're so afraid of communism that, we just got to keep you away from it. We just got to make sure nobody can help them. Nobody can help them. This, you guys probably heard about this. This is a fucked up story. And of course, I have to always say, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not even a voter anymore. So fuck all these people. But still, this is fucked up. U.S. official ordered relief workers to skip MAGA houses after hurricane. So this is down in, this is in Florida, I believe. A federal disaster relief official directed workers to avoid Donald Trump supporters' homes when surveying Hurricane Milton damage in Florida, according to private communication acquired by the Daily Wire, but corroborated by numerous federal employees. A FEMA supervisor instructed staffers to, quote, avoid homes advertising Trump, quote, while they surveyed Lake Placid, Florida, to locate homeowners who could be eligible for government assistance, according to internal text obtained by the Daily Wire. Multiple federal employees informed the Daily Wire that the supervisor, Marnie Washington, delivered the instruction both orally and via a relief team's group chat. According to federal personnel, at least 20 residences with Trump signs or flags were skipped between the end of October and early November, denying them the opportunity to apply for FEMA help. Images published by the Daily Wire show workers skipping over properties and writing notes in the government system like Trump sign, no entry per leadership. The personnel were part of a Department of Homeland Security surge capacity force team, which means they volunteered from other DHS departments to assist an underfunded FEMA in dealing with a second big hurricane in a matter of weeks. The incident occurred amid criticism of the Biden administration's slow response to the disaster, particularly in rural areas like Roan Mountain, Tennessee, where it took nearly 2 weeks for FEMA to arrive. The area, which heavily supported Trump in the recent election, was among those affected by the delayed aid. FEMA agents were directed not to aid residences with Trump signs in Highlands County, a deep red county in south central Florida that voted 70% for Trump on Tuesday. According to images of the exchanges obtained by the Daily Wire, Washington stated in the chat that it would be best practice to avoid homes advertising Trump. Washington leads Highland County's disaster survivor assistance crews. I mean, that is just unbelievably fucked up, right? This whole thing is, to say this whole thing has gone on too far is an understatement, right? You know, after the election, all the fucking meltdowns. I did a fake one, but you know, it was just to make fun of those people. But some of those meltdowns were just like, you know, some of these people were like, you know, fuck white men, fuck Hispanic men, fuck people of color, fuck everybody that got Trump elected, and they're just like sitting in their cars, you know, they got their phone doing the videos and shit like that. Calm the fuck down, all right? Go get you a fucking joint, all right? Or maybe a nice, you know, a nice delicious adult beverage that you enjoy. Have a couple sips and chill the fuck out, all right? Because it doesn't matter who's going to win the election. It doesn't matter who's going to win the election. The people that control both of those people are the ones who are really in charge, and we don't vote for those people. The only way we can vote them out is to get into the streets, and I'm not going to stop talking about that. All right, so I am going to stop talking about the news, and we are going to get to what we're really here for today on Veterans Day. So it is 11/11, and this day has been set aside for veterans of all of our wars and all of our conflicts, and just veterans in general who have served. But you only get one day, right, from the federal government. I don't know if this is a federal holiday or not. It might be. But, you know, it's all lip service when it comes to the veterans, right? Now, my buddy Seth, he'll tell you, he's a veteran himself. He'll say things have gotten better over the last few years, but it's still, you know, it's still a horrible situation that, you know, we have our veterans who were promised things. You can talk to veterans, and they'll tell you their recruiters lied to them up and down. And some of them did some pretty heinous things while they were in the service, right? But not all of them. Some of them were just people who were just thought they were serving their country. They really, you know, they had that ingrained into their head over generations that that's what you do. You know, you fight to defend this country because that's part of your civic duty. Well, we're not defending this country with our troops in 2024. We're an imperialist nation, and we're going around and you know, cooing leaders in countries that have natural resources that we want if their leaders don't play ball with us. And that's how life is for the military. So now when they come home, you know, they have the horrors of things that they've been doing too, or things that they've seen, the PTSD, the stress, everything. And the government will you know, bend over backwards to get you into the military, but once you're out, they will not take care of you. That's for sure. Tom Hartman is not covering the fact that today is Veterans Day. Tom be fear-mongering over there. Well, that's true. There are so many women on TikTok trend where wives are divorcing their husbands because they voted Trump. Yeah. Talking, man, if that chick's going to divorce you over Trump, chances are, let her. Just make sure you're not in California so she doesn't get half your shit. Death to Tyrants, good to see you, brother, over there on the Rock Fin. Love the soldier, hate the wars. Exactly. Judge said jail or army for 2 damn joints. Thanks, Joe and Bill. Exactly. Yeah, a lot of these people are being strong-armed into the military, too. It's like, you want to go to prison? You want to go in the military? Kate says, back in the early 70s, I handled traffic and scheduling at a street outreach counseling center for returning Vietnam vets. Oh, that's awesome. Although that timeline's a little off, Kate. You're not that old. Stop it. All right. Maybe you got in your time machine and went back to the early 70s, because I know you're a very young lady. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anywho, so today what we're going to be doing, I have a ton of information we're going to be going through in the next hour or so, or until we get done, because that's why we're here. Global Solidarity, good to see you. There are many proud, happy people today. I'm pretty sure there are, for one reason or another, that's for sure. So if you are, now some of you guys in my in the audience here are probably veterans, and a lot of you probably already know a lot about this stuff, as far as like if you're a disabled vet, or if you're just trying to get your pension or whatever, that the military tends to not really inform you too much about these benefits, right? Like I said, my buddy Seth says they've gotten a lot better about it, but you know, you have a lot of homeless vets out there who just like hope they've lost hope. They're just, they don't know what to do. They don't have information. You know, a lot of people, they don't have internet and stuff like that. They have to go to a library to use a computer or something like that. Or sometimes they have what they call the Obama phones, you know, and they could probably go to a kiosk. If they're in a big city, they probably have like an internet kiosk that they can get on the internet. But other than that, it's really hard to get the information to them. So if you're watching this today and you're not a veteran, but you have friends or family that are veterans and are trying to seek help and information and stuff, just point them here. And also all the links for the new show, for the new show, and these veteran links are going to be in or are in the description right now. So they're in the description below. So if you want to follow along, if you're at home, or if you're on your phone and you want to check out these websites as we go along, you know, please do. So, and one final thing is, I'm not a veteran myself, so I can't claim 100% credibility on every single one of these sites. I tried to do my due diligence as far as like trying to find the most, the highest rated, as it were, you know, information sites. So it's just like journalism, right? You have to have multiple sources to confirm or deny the plausibility of a story, or the credibility of a story, I should say. What's up, Prop? Antoine Dick's in your mouth. Guys who came back from Vietnam who were drooling and unable to handle their return were locked on the 3rd floor and given Thorazine. The World War II vets laughed at and made fun of Vietnam vet kids. Oh, that's not good. I mean, you know, even though the Vietnam War was fucked up beyond all recognition, that doesn't mean you have to treat the veterans terribly, unless they committed like heinous war crimes. Then fuck them. But you know, we're talking about the majority of these veterans are not heinous war crimes. So so we're gonna get started here first with the this is the Veterans Administration, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm sure a lot of you vets know about this. This is when my dad was he was in the Navy. He had a medical discharge, and it took him forever to get medical benefits from the VA. That's the thing. The reason why we have a lot more information. There's some charity sites on here too, to help out in between when you actually file and when you actually start getting your benefits, because a lot of times it can be a lot of times that can be a long stretch of time, and you need some sort of help in between while you're waiting on these benefits. So this is va.gov. Like I said, it's in the description below. Maybe I could oops, not you, silly beans. You're in the wrong spot. I want to try and make sure that I'm following along as well. And let's see. Let me open this real quick. I tell you, man, it is straight up Monday all day today in my head. So we got, okay, so yes, it's va.gov, and and you just go to disability. This is for disability, how to file a VA disability claim. and it tells you everything here. It tells like your eligibility, right? So we'll go to eligibility for VA disability benefits. So VA disability compensation provides tax-free monthly payments. So you get a check every month or direct deposit. If you have a service-connected condition, you may be eligible for compensation. A service-connected condition means an illness or injury that was caused by or got worse because of your active military service. So here, am I eligible for VA disability compensation? So both of these must be true if you have a current illness or injury known as a condition that affects your mind or body, and you served on active duty for training, or inactive duty training. And at least one of these must be true. So you got sick or injured while serving in the military and can link this condition to your illness or injury, called an in-service disability claim. Another options, you had an illness or injury before you joined the military and serving made it worse, called a pre-service disability claim. I believe a friend of mine had that. He found out he had a heart condition. I think Seth was telling me about it. I think Seth said he had a heart condition that he found out while he was in the military. Or you have a disability related to your active duty service that didn't appear until after you ended your service, called a post-service disability claim. Presumptive conditions. For some conditions, they automatically assume or presume that your service caused your condition. They call those presumptive conditions. If you have a presumptive condition, you don't need to prove that your service caused the condition. You only need to meet the service requirements for the presumption. And then here's find out more about these categories, like chronic illness, illness caused by contact with contaminants, like they had at Camp Lejeune, I think. They had for about 30 years, people that had served there. It was chemicals in the water. Or an illness caused by your time spent as a prisoner of war. What should I do if I received an other than honorable bad conduct or dishonorable discharge? Excuse me. That winter dry air, delicious. Well, it's almost winter. If you received one of these discharge statuses, you may not be eligible for VA disability benefits. And here's where you could apply for a discharge upgrade, or you can learn about the VA character discharge review process. So how do I file a claim for compensation? So you can file a claim online now, which is great, because back in the day when my dad did it, it was in the 70s, and obviously no internet. So he had to I think he had to go to the closest VA center, which I believe was in Biloxi, Mississippi. So they have two centers in South Mississippi. The one's in Biloxi is the main hospital, and Gulfport is where they have the mental health facilities there. So what conditions are covered by these benefits? So you may be able to get VA disability benefits for conditions including chronic back pain resulting in a current diagnosed back disability, breathing problems resulting from a current lung condition or lung disease, severe hearing loss, scar tissue, loss of range of motion, problems moving your body, ulcers, and God knows probably half the planet has ulcers at this point, cancers or other conditions caused by contact with toxic chemicals or other dangers. You may also be able to get VA disability benefits for conditions like these, and this is probably more apropos to soldiers today. Although, any soldier in war is going to have PTSD, but in these psycho times today, it's probably a little bit more concentrated. So if you have anxiety, depression, mental or physical health conditions related to military sexual trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, like we said, PTSD, or traumatic brain injury. And they have some YouTube videos here. What is disability compensation? What is service connection? If you want to get more into that. Disabilities that appear within 1 year after discharge. If you have signs of an illness that started within a year after you were discharged from active service. Find out if you can get disability benefits. So a lot of this stuff you'll have to do online, but you may have to actually talk to somebody in person, like have to go to the office, because it is a government thing, and of course the government always wants you to come in and talk to them face to face. If your service-connected disability limits your ability to work or prevents you from working, find out if you can get veterans readiness and employment benefits and services, like help exploring employment options and getting more education or training if required. And we're going to go over some sites here. Ooh, it's 11/11 on 11/11. Make a wish. I wish for world peace. I always do. Like getting employment options, getting more education or training if required. If you've been referred, accessing VRNE through the Integrated Disability Evaluation System. If you've been referred to IDES to determine if you're medically unfit for duty to a service due to a service-connected disability, found out how to access VRNE services quickly. So, plethora of links on here. Like I said, this is va.gov. This is where you want to get started, because you want to get your benefits started, at least the process of getting your benefits started as soon as possible. So, how to file a claim. This is probably very important. So how do I prepare before starting my application, right? So yes, you're going to have to get probably a shit ton of medical documents if you're doing medical disability, which is probably what you would be doing. So let's see. Yeah, we told you about the eligibility qualifications there. Make sure you fill out your claim completely, because it is, once again, it's a government document. You know, dot all the T's and cross all the I's. You know the drill. Gather any evidence, supporting documents you'll submit yourself when you file your VA disability claim. We encourage you to send in all your supporting documents along with your claim. This will help us process your claim quickly. Find out if you'll need to turn in any additional forms with your claim. And that's the thing for vets these days, the online services are a godsend. Like I said, back in the day, they didn't have that. And there was a lot of backlog. That's why it took my dad forever to get his benefits, because it just took so fucking long. There wasn't, different departments weren't able to talk to each other, like sharing information and stuff. And it's just, it's still a mess, but apparently it's better. I trust my buddy Seth. I think he knows what he's talking about. So, to learn more about filing a disability claim, you can play and they have videos too if you don't want to read through all the shit. So what evidence do I need to support my claim? You can support your VA disability claim by providing these documents. Your VA medical records and hospital records. These could relate to your claimed illnesses or injuries, or they could show that your rated disability has gotten worse. Private medical records and hospital reports. That's probably what a lot of people would have. These could relate to your claimed illnesses or injuries, or they could show that your disability has gotten worse. Other supporting statements. These could be from family members, friends, clergy members, law enforcement personnel, or people you serve with. These statements could tell them more about your claim condition and how and when it happened or when it got worse. Depending on the type of claim you file, you may gather supporting documents yourself, or you can ask for help to gather evidence. A lot of times people have that. That's the biggest problem, is getting all this paperwork together to get this, right? Bureaucracy. They'll also review your discharge papers, your DD-214 or other separation documents, and service treatment records. Do you have to submit evidence with your claim? No, you don't have to submit any evidence to support your claim, but they may need to schedule a claim exam so they can learn more about your conditions. And there's a link there to learn more about the claim exams. You should also know that you have up to a year from the date they receive your claim to turn in any evidence. So if you don't have it right away, it's fine. Just start the claim, and then worry about getting the paperwork. Just do it as soon as possible. If you start your application and need time to gather more supporting documents, you can save your application and come back later to finish it. They'll recognize the date you started your application as your date of claim as long as you complete it within a year. So you can file a claim for compensation multiple ways, right? Online. So, like I said, just go to va.gov and you'll see all of these are very easy to find, by the way. There's a nice little menu over here. Get benefits, how to file a claim online, manage benefits, more resources, that sort of thing. So let's go back down here. If this will let me do it. You can do a snail mail, file your claim by mailing, using mail by using an application for disability compensation and related compensation benefits. That's VA form 21-526EZ. I would assume EZ makes the form easier to fill out. Just a guess. And you don't have to memorize these numbers and stuff. It's all here on the website. Print the form out, fill it out, and send it to this address, which is Department of Veterans Affairs Claims Intake Center, P.O. Box 4444, Janesville, Wisconsin. I've been through there. 53547-4444. You could go in person, bring your application to a VA regional office near you, and there's a link here. It shows you a map, like if you're in Illinois, if you're in New York, Mississippi, California, wherever the hell you are. It'll show you where the nearest VA office is to you. So you can do it by fax if you still have a fax machine. In the U.S., you can fax your application to 844-531-7818. Outside the U.S., you can fax it to 248-524-4260. Again, all of this is here on the website. Or you could get somebody to help you with it. If you've got a little bit extra money, I don't know. They might be free services. I'm not quite sure. You can work with an accredited attorney. Well, like if you have your own attorney, you can probably get this done. Claims agent or a veterans service organization representative to get help filing a claim for disability compensation. Should I submit an intent to file form? What is that? If you plan to file for disability compensation using a paper form, you may want to submit an intent to file form first. So what this is, this can give you the time you need to gather your evidence while avoiding a later potential start date, also called an effective date. When you notify them of your intent to file, you may be able to get retroactive payments. That's compensation that starts at a point in the past, so retroactive. If you file for disability compensation online, then you don't need to notify them of your intent to file because you're filing online. This is because your effective date gets set automatically when you start filling out the form online before you submit it. So what happens after I file my VA disability claim, right? This is where the waiting starts, okay? You don't need to do anything while you're waiting unless they send you a letter asking for more information. If they schedule exams for you, be sure not to miss them. That's the thing. Always keep your correspondence from the Veterans Administration. Keep all of it, right? Make you a little folder or something. Just put all that stuff in one place so you'll have it. How long does it take the VA to make a decision? The average number of days to complete disability related claims as of October of this year is 140.5 days. So that's a little over I don't know how many, 3, 6, 9, 12, about 4 to 5 months, that kind of thing. And it varies. It's not exactly 140.5 days. It could be sooner. It could be later. So you have to take that into consideration. So, and here it says more information about filing disability claims, the claim types and when to file, evidence needed, disabilities that disappear, and all that we just talked about before. So let's go back up here, and we're going to talk about manage benefits, right? This is how you can check your claim, check your VA claim, decision review. So you just basically you just create an account with them, sign in. So if you have a login.gov or an id.me, DS login, or a My Health eVet account, if you don't have any of those accounts, you can create a free login, gov, or ID.me account. Here, you just do it right there. What types of claims, decisions, reviews, and appeals can I check in this tool? You can use this tool to check the status of a VA claim, decision, review, or appeal for these types of benefits. Again, in the age of the internet, you're going to get a more expedited answer to your questions than if you wait for the snail mail like my old man did back in the 70s. Delicious. So you can use this tool to check the status of a claim, decision review, or appeal for these types of benefits. So disability compensation, veterans or survivors pensions benefits, special monthly compensation such as aid and attendance, dependency and indemnity compensation, burial allowance to help pay for a veteran's burial and funeral expenses, specially adapted housing or special housing adaptation grant. You can also use this tool to check the status of requests to add or remove dependents, requests to for approval of school attendance for dependent children. And when I was growing up, us kids who were I don't know if this is for everybody, but because my dad was a veteran, I was able to get college money to help pay for college from that as well. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it was a significant amount, to make a difference. So yeah, you'll need all this stuff, one of these logins to use the tool. So what kind of information can you get from this tool? Any evidence you filed online, any additional evidence they've requested from you, your claim, decision, review, or appeal type, and what you've claimed. What if I send a document to the VA as evidence and it's not listed? The old missing paperwork thing. Or certain documents won't appear online. So they won't list documents you sent by mail or fax, like the physical you brought in, or the ones you brought in person, or documents they've restricted to protect you or someone else's privacy. So they, because those things, you don't want to get hacked and get doxxed. So will VA protect my personal information if I use this tool? Yes, this is a secure website. We follow strict security policies and practices to protect your personal health information. But, just take precautions just in case. And the numbers here you can call if you have more information or more questions. So yeah, so you can do all this stuff here through va.gov. Let me see if I can go back here. What is this? You can probably go away. No, I'm not going to close that. Okay. So you can file a claim online and manage benefits. So more resources. Let's check out more resources. There's disability compensation rates. So you're like, how much money am I going to get? Let's go here if it'll let us. Current disability compensation rates. So current factors that may affect your monthly compensation payments. Can I get increased payments if I have a severe disability or dependence? Yes, they'll increase your monthly payments if one or more of the below is true. If you have a very severe disability or loss of limb, or you have a spouse, child, or dependent parent, and your combined disability rating is 30% or greater. And that's the thing. There's different percentages of disability too, right? So for the longest time, my dad was at 10%, right? Which you hardly got anything from the VA to help out. But His mental and physical injuries were due to the military. So eventually, he was finally made it up to 100% disability, where he could get the maximum amount of benefits, and that's the goal. You want to get the 100%. So, or if you have a spouse with a serious disability, right? So, is there anything else that might affect compensation amount? If you receive military retirement pay, disability, severance pay, or separation pay, your compensation may end up being less than it is otherwise. So it's not guaranteed that it will be less, but pretty close. Or if you're incarcerated in a federal, state, or local facility for more than 60 days for conviction of a felony, right? So let's see here. The special monthly compensation rates. VA special monthly compensation is a higher rate of compensation that we pay to veterans as well as their spouses, surviving spouses, and parents with certain needs or disabilities. So effective last year's levels K and Q are special rates called SMC rate payment variations. We may add level K. Okay. So these, now your particular compensation, you might want to discuss with your VA person. Because yes, you want to do as much stuff online as you can, like paperwork and stuff. You could call your VA if they're not close by, but then you're at the will of just, waiting on the phone. But if you can get in person to talk to somebody and maybe bring some extra paperwork or something with you that you didn't have, that might actually kind of help you out as well. There's special benefit allowance rates. So this was actually effective last week, or last month, I should say. Automobile allowance. If you have a service-connected disability that prevents you from driving, they can pay up to $26,417.20 toward a specially equipped vehicle for you. And in 2024, you're probably not going to get something like that. But at least you have $26,000 extra to help pay for it. The seller of the specifically equipped vehicle needs to submit a claim to the VA. Then they pay them a one-time payment directly. Clothing allowance. If a skin medicine, prosthetic, or orthopedic device related to your service-connected disability damages your clothes, they could pass you close to $1,000 to replace the damaged clothes. This may be a one-time payment, or they may pay this amount once a year. So I think you have to submit it on or before August 1st of each year to get the allowance for that year. Medal of Honor pension. If you receive the Medal of Honor, they could pay you an additional $1,671 each month. And then you could click here for past rates within the last 6 years, I think. So this is the Veterans Administration. This is where you start, right? There's also birth defect compensation. I'm not quite sure what that is. That sounds groovy. Review compensation rates for Vietnam and Korea veterans' children who have spina bifida, as well as women Vietnam veterans' children with certain other birth defects. So spina bifida. How do I know if my child is eligible for compensation? If you served in Vietnam or Thailand or in or near the Korean demilitarized zone, and your child has spina bifida or certain other birth defects, your child may be able to get compensation and other disability benefits. Okay, so once again, this is the VA, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, a very, how shall we say, bureaucratic mess. Although, like I said, it's been cleaned up since then. Speaking of cleaning, let me do a little house cleaning here because I want to make sure I don't pop up another news thing again. So I appreciate your patience today, guys, with me and these tech things. This is really wasn't what I was expected, but At least the coffee's good, right? Coffee tastes delicious. All right, so that's the VA. So now we're going to go through some of these other agencies that help veterans. The hell? I'm not. There we go. Okay, so one of these is this is AM Vets, Veterans Helping Veterans since 1948, representing the interests of 20 million warriors and their families. Their mission, AM Vets National Service Foundation, provides veterans, their families, and survivors world-class counsel and representation before the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Your support enables us to provide these professional services at no charge. So they're always, these are like charitable organizations too, but they can help provide services. Let's see what their programs are. Read veteran stories, post a veteran story. Let's see, thrift stores, scholarships, that sort of thing. So AM Vets, it's amvetsnsf.org. Like I said, all the links are down below, and we're going to be going in this order as well. So the next one we're going to look at is the American Legion. Founded by an act of Congress after World War I, the American Legion fiercely advocates for the unique needs of every generation of veterans, service members, and their families who pledge to protect our nation. Today, we are committed to destigmatizing mental health support, offering peer-to-peer resources, and empowering everyone to be the one in the fight to end veteran suicide. Yes, so plenty of information there. You may be someone that's a friend of a vet and you want to get involved. There's information here how you can help out a veteran. So this is a little Q&A here. What are the eligibility dates for membership in the American Legion? I'm currently on active duty. Am I eligible? So a lot of the Q&As or the FAQs, I should say, really do help out a good bit. So that's the American Legion. Now we'll be moving to the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And let me say again, I know I said this off the top, but I'm not saying all of these programs are 100% perfect in any sort of way. Like I said, these people have to deal with the bureaucracy of the United States government, just like you would as an individual filing your claims and stuff like that. So, when you check out these sites, make sure you're checking out, if it's right for you, if this is, the kind of service that you need. Now, you may talk to other veterans who would say, oh, well, I checked out that one that you were talking about, and that's no good. Like, I think the Wounded Warriors Project, I heard, is not a very good organization. So, if you're dealing with the Wounded Warriors Project, if you're involved with them at all, I'm not saying it's a shit organization. I don't really know. I've just, heard that there may be some shenanigans going on. Just, stay frosty. That's all I'm saying. Just don't assume that any or all of these organizations are going to be 100% top shelf when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that's the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And the next one up for bids here is the DAV. This is for disabled American veterans. That's what DAV does. And there's various programs and services that they provide as well. Let's see, services for veterans. Let's see what we do. Let's check out what we do. No pop-up. So each veteran faces unique challenges immediately and in the years after service. Here are some of the challenges many encounter. Navigating the complex world of benefits, the changing needs of veterans, making the move to civilian life. So they can help you out with that. Let's see. Oh, that's member resources. Okay, so if you want to get help now, I believe they also might be able to help you with the paperwork too to get your veterans benefits. Yeah, VA benefits help. They have that here. So, and these are all nonprofits. Transitioning to civilian life, transportation. That's another place that you can get transportation services, jobs, maybe help you start a business as a veteran. So that is the Disabled American Veterans, DAV.org. We got a few here, so we'll probably run it up to the top of the hour because I want to make sure everybody knows. Kate, our buddy Kate turned me on to this the other day. This is foodnotbombs.net, right? So wars are raging across the world while millions are going hungry. The number of Americans becoming homeless increased by 11% in the first 8 months of 2023. Child poverty in the U.S. more than doubled in the last 12 months. The conflict in the Middle East is raging, and threats of a nuclear war are greater than during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Volunteers are organizing to provide relief to those suffering from the ravages of Hurricane Helene. And so this is basically just a call to action here. Food Not Bombs is organizing to stop these tragic events. When 1 billion people go hungry each day, how can we spend another dollar on war? Good question. Because war is definitely not in just regular ass people's, that's not in their interest at all. It's people who make money off war. That's in their interest. Food Not Bombs is an all-volunteer movement that recovers food that would otherwise be discarded. So they don't do the dumpster diving. I remember when I worked at Trader Joe's, I believe we donated food to Food Not Bombs and other charitable organizations in the Brooklyn, New York area. So basically it's food that's just maybe like a day or right at its expiration date. It's still good. You know, food doesn't expire like right on the date. So, but for business purposes, they know they're not going to be able to sell it. But they don't want to throw it away either, so they give it to Food Not Bombs. So that's an all-volunteer movement. They recover food that would otherwise be discarded, shares free vegan and vegetarian meals with the hungry in over 1,000 cities in 65 countries in protest to war, poverty, and destruction of the environment. They're not a charity, but dedicated to taking nonviolent direct action. Their movement has no headquarters or positions of leadership and use the process of consensus to make decisions. Sounds kind of communist to me. What that's that? Just kidding. We also provide food and supplies to the survivors of natural disasters and people participating in occupations, strikes, marches, and other protests. So, yes, an all-around social program there, but also can benefit the veterans as well. Next is the Bob Woodruff Foundation. So you're like, who's Bob Woodruff? So in 2006, Bob Woodruff was reporting on the transfer of power between U.S. and Iraqi security forces for ABC's World News Tonight. Bob's armored vehicle was hit by a roadside bomb, and he sustained a life-threatening traumatic brain injury. Due to quick actions of brave soldiers, medics, and military medical professionals, Bob's life was saved. Within days, he was transported to the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Oh, boy. Poor Bob. He went to Walter Reed. There, Bob spent 36 days in a medically induced coma. Leah's wife, got to know the families of service members dealing with the impact of hidden injuries such as traumatic brain injury and PTSD and depression. As he recovered, the Woodruff family resolved to raise awareness about the tough challenges veterans and military families are facing and invest in solutions to help support them in the next chapter of their lives. Today, the Bob Woodruff Foundation complements government's work and ensures that veterans are thriving long after they return home. So this is their foundation, some of the events that they do to help veterans. So like tonight, is going to be the 18th annual Stand Up for Heroes, David Geffen Hall at the Lincoln Center. And you can, so there's two things there. If you want to get support, you can click here. If you want to donate and give support, you can do so as well. This is Everyone for Veterans. So they're catalysts for community connection. Everyone for Veterans mobilizes civilians and professionals to support our greatest national treasure, our veterans and their families. They work in concert with civilians and professionals to provide free comprehensive dental care, goods, and services to eligible veterans of the U.S. Armed Forces and their spouses. And this is everyoneforveterans.org. Again, all the links for what I'm looking at here today are in the description down below. Dental care is one of those things that a lot of, even with Medicare, I think vision and dental are not, you have to have like some sort of Part C or something for like that. I'm not quite sure. I'm old, but I'm not that old yet. So, and then you can check out their backstory here. Everyone for Veterans was founded by Teresa Cheng, 2021's American Dental Association Humanitarian of the Year Award recipient. I was up for that myself, but, I figured Dr. Cheng was probably better suited to get that. Wanting to get back to our nation's veterans returning home from deployment in 2008, she decided to pay forward her dental expertise and provide free dental care to several combat veterans and their spouses at her private practice in Issaquah, Washington. It immediately became apparent the veteran community was greatly underserved concerning dental services, so she contacted some colleagues who eagerly agreed to provide the same pro bono services at their clinics. So E4V became a 501c3 in January of 2017, has developed into an award-winning nonprofit partnered with an extensive network of pro bono dental providers. So they do things, but the emphasis I think is on dental health. Very underlooked. Some people just like, fuck my teeth. I am bullshit. That's bullshit. I need a new liver. And it's like, okay, but now there's places that can do the teeth too. So this one is Home for Our Troops. It is that's hfotusa.org. Their mission is to build and donate specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans to enable them to rebuild their lives. Homes for Our Troops is publicly funded 501c3 that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes. Most of these veterans have sustained injuries, including multiple limb amputations, partial or full paralysis, and or severe traumatic brain injury. These homes restore some of the freedom and independence our veterans sacrifice while defending our country and enable them to focus on their family, recovery, and rebuilding their lives. So this is more of a, not just housing, but just building a home for veterans. So rebuilding lives is the most important aspect of our mission. Therefore, we stay in contact with our veterans after home delivery. Homes for Our Troops provides a pro bono financial planner for 3 years to assist in financial planning and household budgeting. They also provide home ownership education and warranty coverage to ensure that the veteran is set up for long-term success as a homeowner. One staff section's sole focus is following up with veterans, so they also have a peer mentoring program consisting of veterans and spouses in the HFOT program. To improve our post-home delivery support, they continue to expand network of nonprofits, corporations, and government entities to provide assistance with employment, education, training, and health, and other issues. So building homes, building on success, and if you want to donate to them, you can do so as well. That is Home for Our Troops. Oh no, I think I closed the wrong one. What did I do? Oh, yeah, hang on a second. It is one of those days, yo. Let me do this. You can see the inner workings of my Brave browser. Oh, I just did that one. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so the next one the next item up for bids here is Operation Second Chance. So Operation Second Chance, there it is right here. We are patriotic citizens committed to serving our wounded, injured, and ill veterans. We support veterans and their families by building relationships and identifying and supporting immediate needs and interests. We are dedicated to promoting public awareness of many sacrifices made by our armed forces. Now, again, these programs that we're talking about now are what you can take advantage of while you're waiting for your benefits to be processed, and even after your benefits are processed, you may make relations with some of these organizations, and in turn you may want to pay it forward, and help them as well. But it's good to at least have something or organizations that can help you out while you're waiting. Like I said, 140 days. That's a little over 4 months, but like I said, sometimes it could take longer to do. So you don't really want to just sit there with, twiddling your thumbs and waiting on your benefits. You may want to check out, one of these as well to help in the meantime. So, like on their FAQ here, they're a nonprofit, the 50c3. Why is there a need for Operation Second Chance to help our severely injured military? Shouldn't the government be doing this? The government does an excellent job of getting our warriors patched up and back on their feet. OSC is able to help work with the government to get things done much quicker and without the red tape of a bureaucracy, which is, that's all you face whenever you're trying to get some sort of benefits for military service. OSC also provides assistance to warriors long after the government's job is completed in a way that only a nonprofit organization can do. So let's see their programs. They have the Healing Arts Program, support and assistance, retreats, scholarships. It's really good. At least I hope it is. I'm assuming it is. Puppers. Now, this is a fun one. Puppies behind bars. You're like, what the hell? These dogs go to jail? What are you talking about? Okay. I know, I just love the puppies. So this is basically, so nearly 30 years ago when Puppies Behind Bars was still an unnamed dream, its founder, Gloria Gilbert Stoga, could not have imagined the impact it would have across America. So, but what does it do? Let's see. So basically what this is, okay. So basically they give puppies to incarcerated individuals, right? And what happens is they train, these inmates train these dogs to become service animals for veterans, right? Eventually. So like here it says, so the how are the puppy raisers selected for the program? They have people who volunteer to, it's one of the things, they just don't just throw puppies in there. They check each people, mostly like non-violent criminals, that sort of thing. Maybe some violent ones, but I don't know. And what it does for the people in jail too, it gives them a sense of like, hey, I'm actually doing something good for somebody, and I got to play with puppies. Win-win. So it tells you everything on here, like how they socialize the puppies, the training, that kind of thing. So that's a really cool thing to see there. Puppiesbehindbars.com. This next one is Operation Homefront. It's a nationally recognized, it's another 501c3, build strong, stable, and secure military families so they can thrive, not simply struggle to get by in the communities. Our mission is to build, a key aspect of their mission is to ensure that military families have access to the support and resources they need to stay strong, stable, and secure in the face of adversity. Some of their key programs here, their short-term assistance, if you needed critical financial assistance, transitional housing in villages, apartments, traditional homes for veterans, permanent homes for veterans, recurring family support programs like Star Spangled Baby Showers, home front celebrations, holiday toy drive, that sort of thing. So that is operationhomefront.org. And and they can help out with housing, financial assistance. And once again, it's a charity. So if you want to donate to it, you can do that. This is fisherhouse.org. And they build comfort homes where military and veteran families can stay free of charge while a loved one is in the hospital. These homes are located at military and VA medical centers around the world. Fisher houses have up to 21 suites with private bedrooms and baths. Families share a common kitchen, laundry facilities, that sort of thing. So it's almost like the Ronald McDonald halfway house, right? The Ronald McDonald house. Whereas, like, again, I'll use myself as an example. My dad would often have to be in the hospital in Biloxi, Mississippi, which would be about a 45-minute drive from where we lived, north of there. So we were able to come down there, see him while he was in the hospital. Somebody would stay with him, and the rest of us would come back. But if you have a VA hospital or someplace that is like very far away from where you live, then these Fisher houses is probably a good program, so that you don't have to get like a pricey hotel or anything to stay by. So, to stay at, I should say. This is hopeforthewarriors.org. I'm trying to see what specifically they do. So Hope for the Warriors provides comprehensive support programs for service members, veterans, and military families. It was founded by military families aboard Marine Corps base Camp Lejeune in 2006, as they witnessed firsthand the effects of war imparts on service members and their families. I'm trying to see some of the here we go, programs and services. So there's financial wellness and life roles. Well-being begins with stability with one's finances, career, and purposes. Physical and emotional wellness, social support and community connection, training and education. See, that's the thing. It's like a lot of our veterans are just cast out, right? And some of these cats have been out here for a while. Some of these guys, some Vietnam vets, maybe Gulf War vets too, are out there too from 91. And we just got to get them out from under the bridges, get them a place to stay, get them some healthy food, eat, let them, clean themselves up and start building themselves up. And it's just hard to do when you've just given up, when society has given up on you like that, so we have to take care of our veterans. We have to save them. Like the title of the show says, save our veterans, right? We have a few more here we'll get to in just a moment. I know you're thinking like, well, you're just reading off websites. Well, I'm providing as much information as I can to give you plenty of options, right? It's better to give you too much information than not enough. So if this is too much, like I said, don't worry, just take your time. Just use the link. The links are in a Google Doc. So when you click on that link, it'll bring up the list. But if you're having trouble with that for some reason and you want me to send the list to you, the full list that I have, just email me extrabulla@gmail.com and I'll send you out a copy with everything parsed out for you. So Yellow Ribbon Fund, this is yellowribbonfund.org. So let's check out their resources there. They have immediate call centers. So if you're suicidal, they have a veterans crisis line that you can call. There's a veteran call center for women. If you need self-help, there's mobile apps that they can point you to. A PTSD coach online, because not a lot of people can get to they may be too far away, to get to the hospital or to the doctor. your veterans doctor, that is, and connecting with other services as well. A lot of these organizations partner with each other. They also have a family wellness retreat too. So that's yellowribbonfund.org. This one's kind of weird. This is the Gary Sinise Foundation.org. This is Lieutenant Dan. You remember Lieutenant Dan? So he says, shortly after his son Mac's death in January of this year, he began, let's see. Oh, that's not what I want to read. Where's it at? My apologies. This is the mission. That's what we want. There we go. Freedom and security are precious gifts that we as Americans should never take for granted. We must do all we can to extend our hand in the time of need. But what do you do? I believe they provide, let's see. Here's the programs. Let's do the RISE. Through our RISE, which is Restoring Independence Supporting Empowerment Program, we build 100% mortgage-free, specially adapted smart homes. So again, it's not like sticking you in an apartment or somewhere. They actually build little houses for you. Specially adapted smart homes for our most severely wounded heroes. I'm not a fan of smart homes, but if it's technology that can help you if you're like physically disabled in some way, that's probably okay. We also provide home modifications, mobility devices, and adapted vehicles to injured, wounded, ill, and aging heroes. Our Relief and Resiliency Program aims to ensure defenders and their families stay strong through hardships by offering complete support in times of need. Community outreach, first responders outreach program provides funding for essential equipment, PPE, emergency relief, etc. So Gary Sinise, actor, I think it was Drunken Unicorn who said that why aren't celebrities doing this kind of stuff? So some of them are. The mission continues. This is missioncontinues.org. So their mission is to empowering veterans through community service. At the Mission Continues, we're on a mission to connect veterans with under-resourced communities. Our programs deploy veteran volunteers to work alongside nonprofit partners and community leaders to improve educational resources, tackle food insecurity, foster neighborhood identity, and more. So this is more like a community type help here. Let's see. Our impact team, and I'm trying to see. This just seems like another community type organization to help you in, maybe find housing, that sort of thing. This is another service dogs one, American Vet Dogs, vetdogs.org. So service dogs for veterans and first responders too. So you don't necessarily have to be a veteran. You can also have if you're police, firefighter, that sort of thing. The service dog programs of America's Vet Dogs were created to provide enhanced mobility and renewed independence to veterans, active duty service members, and first responders with disabilities, allowing them to once again live with pride and self-reliance. So this is, there's a few sites on here to help you get canine support there too. Love the puppers too. Look at your puppy. What a sweetums. This is thefund.org, Semper Fi, and America's Fund. What they do. Let's look at it. So we work to ensure that no one is left behind. Our programs are designed with a commitment to those we serve. The fund is dedicated to providing immediate financial assistance and lifetime support to our nation's critically wounded, ill, and injured service members, veterans, and military families. I think Catholic Charities does that too. I could be wrong, but like I said, a lot of these, don't think of it as charity. Just think of it as something to get you by till you get to your actual benefits that you have earned as a service member, right? So some of their programs that they have service member family support program, transition program helps wounded and critically ill service members and veterans thrive well beyond entry to recovery, integrative wellness program. And you can check that all right here with all the news. They have like news and events and stuff like that too. This is the Travis Manion Foundation. That's travismanion.org. Let's see. So about us, let's check that out, who we are. And always, any of these sites, and not just these that I'm showing you, but anything veteran related and anything in general, even if you're just looking for the, to see if a journalist or some sort of journalism outlet is, where do they come from? Always check the About Us, see where they come from, see who funds them. If they're a nonprofit, they're probably getting charitable donations. But some of these, but like in journalism, you want to find out an About Us on a particular, if they're an independent journalist, and then you find out, they're being backed by a millionaire for like $20 million. Let's see, they're deployed. So, okay, well, where are the programs? Now, these are all events. I'm not quite sure who. Maybe this one's a little tricky. This one, I'm sure they're okay, but it just seems like it's a little bit hard to navigate. It doesn't really give you much information on here, so just kind of keep that. That may be something you might want to explore a little further for yourself, but seems like it does the thing, financial help, that kind of thing. This is IAVA. We've got your back. So, and what does IAVA do? IAVA increases awareness in the media among the American public and in Washington to ensure that the voices of our newest generation of veterans are heard and listened to. Yes, not just the old guys. I mean, there's new vets too that are getting screwed over. So let's see, about, and let's see, advocacy, get involved, media. So I'm not quite sure. I think they do kind of the same thing as well. Here we go. We're here to serve and empower our post 9/11 veterans community. We believe these dynamic men and women represent America's future, our next greatest generation. They are our true north, and everything we do is designed to focus on them and the positive future they bring to the world. Everyone is welcome. The veterans movement is for every veteran. Our diversity is our strength. We are a community that welcomes everyone of every background, time period, and discharge status. So, and finally, Hire Heroes USA. So this is unemployment services for veterans. So you can register for services there. They have career events, job board, training partners, that sort of thing. And, because a lot of, like I say, if you're a younger veteran, who's trying to seek job help, a lot of times your local Department of Labor is, a lot of those jobs are slim to none. Even though they do have a lot of openings for veterans, you'll see they will probably prioritize veterans more than they will anybody else. Why is there the shadow? What is going on here? I look like the devil. There we go. Huh? There we go. All right. And folks, that's just just scratching the surface of what's available out there for veterans, as far as like trying to get yourself back on your feet, right? I know you may know somebody that's, like I said, they may be homeless and just, just probably checked out, and they're just saying, fuck it. I don't know how to get these benefits. I don't want to wait around and waste all this time doing this shit that's probably not going to help. But yes, the actual dealing with the government part is going to be it's going to be a lot of red tape. It's the government, right? That's why you hear people complaining about big government. When I hear that, this is what I think about. I think about all the dumb shit that you have to do after you've already, done a job for somebody like that. You were in the military, right? You served your country, and promises were made, promises need to be kept, so, but that's the thing. A lot of times they don't tell you about these different kinds of services and stuff like that. So that's what we're here to help. And this won't be the only show that we do for veterans. This is not going to be like a one and done on Veterans Day. I plan on doing a show, gathering some of my veteran buddies in the space, get together, have a little round table, talk about what veterans are going through and how we can help them, because we have got to stop ignoring these people, right? Everybody's hurting in this country, but probably none more so than those who were just fucked up by war, fucked up by some sort of military service, so, being lied to by their government. Anyway, I really do have a soft spot. My dad was a veteran. My uncle was a veteran. I have several friends who are veterans. And before you say, why didn't you serve? My old man wouldn't let me serve. I didn't really have a passion to serve in the military, and he sure as hell didn't like nurture any kind of notions to go into the military. So, but I do respect those that did serve. I know a lot of times they were tricked into it or coerced in some sort of way, or just were desperate and had to go through some real bullshit, and they shouldn't have to pay for that with a shitty life, and I'll just end this by saying, if we can help our veterans, which we should be doing, then we should be helping all those that need our help as well. So, if somebody does something nice for you, and you can't pay them back, just pay it forward. Keep that help vibe going, and hopefully it spreads just, it just becomes contagious and everybody wants to help. And then maybe, just maybe, we as a human race can get our shit together and stop being greedy, evil motherfuckers, and start making a difference in this world, and start doing things right, treating people well, treating people the way they need to be treated. I think it starts with our veterans, and from there we can just expand it. So, anyway, I appreciate everybody for hanging out this long. And like I said, if you're a veteran yourself, or if you know somebody who is a veteran that doesn't really know where they need to go, just provide them, if they have internet access, they can get to a library or something that they can, watch the video. That's great. Otherwise, like I said, I got the links. I got a link to the links in the description below, and I should have that on Rockfin and Rumble and on Facebook information as well. So, as for tonight, the usual suspects are out and about. I think Willie's got a show going on tonight. Around the World, Dee and Friends, she has a show as well. If I'm missing anybody, I'm sorry. But I just want to thank everybody. I thank you guys anyway for watching the show. I appreciate it. I hope the information does something for you. that I provide here, and today especially for veterans, because a lot of these guys and gals and all our other pals don't have the resources or the knowledge, or maybe they've just given up. So we can't let them give up. Okay, we love them too much, and I love you guys too much as well. I appreciate everybody that hung out today. Have a wonderful day. I will be back Wednesday morning, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll have more news for you. I'm sure more depressing shit from overseas, but hopefully maybe we'll get some good news. One never knows. Take care. Love each and every one of you, and we'll see you next time. Happy Veterans Day, and let every day be Veterans Day. Peace.
This is City Alpha 5! A damn good song, wasn't it, Dora? You like that song? All right.